So we've got Marlon O. We've got a couple from Ruby. Um, this one from Giulia. One from Andre. This is quite a cool scene. And Pete, just a study. Was there anybody else wanting their shots, their projects reviewed?
I will be on the next run.
Okay, no worries. Awesome. Okay, so maybe we'll just get cracking, get into it. Yeah?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so we've got Marlon O. Um, Marlon, are
Hello.
you online? Yep.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Cool.
Okay, great.
Okay, so tell me about this project.
Um, this is just a little personal project. It was a tutorial I was doing, but the asset was really good, so I decided to just take it up a next level. Use some mega scans in the background.
Mm,
The animation and stuff is from the animation on the actual character, and the texture and the shell itself is in a limbic cache.
yep.
And then I went in, I did everything else, lighting, so I used mega scans, look dev, compositing, the whole thing. So it's basically, I used to, the story behind me is I used to be in the industry 10 years ago. I worked for ILM 10 years ago,
Mm,
um, and came out to uh, help a friend start a company, had a family, and now I want to go back into the industry. I've done the family thing. My friend's company is doing well, so time to go back. So I'm polishing up skills to go back
right,
and
right.
everything like that.
And were
Yeah.
you a lighter when you
Yeah, I
were
was a
very
lighter compositor on like Rango and some Astro Boy and stuff like that.
yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I love Rango.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
He's great.
that was a really beautifully lit um,
Yes.
movie. Yeah, just really just very nuanced lighting,
Very
very
filmic.
very definitely very cinematic. And
Yes.
who was the DP on that? Um, was there a
I can't
DP
remember
on
how.
that? Wow.
I don't remember there being a Pacific DP on it. I
Right.
guess someone to credit, but generally we had a director Vorpaginski. We
Yep.
had a lot of like lighting supervisors. Even John Knoll came in at the end, and he was finaling shots at the end. John Knoll,
Yeah.
things like that. So can't remember a Pacific DP on it, but it was a team effort with all the lighting soups and everything like that.
Yeah. Oh,
And
cool.
Kevin Sprout came in. He's the master of RenderMan, so he did a lot of work with us too.
Right. Was it done in RenderMan? Was it rendered in RenderMan or?
Yeah, it was RenderMan. Yeah.
Yep. And this project here, what did you use for rendering?
This is Arnold. This is Arnold and Maya, composited in Nuke.
Yep. It looks great. I mean, it's there's some beautiful detail that you've kind of etched out with the lighting on the creature's kind of musculature. Um, and what was the setup? Did you have like a sort of a coolish kind of top light, and then obviously you had the light from um, the sort
Yeah,
of
this the
warmer
setup is
light.
I lit the doorway first.
Yep.
So I have like three lights at the doorway. One to give the that bottom light that's kind of like spraying across the ground. If you see, there's like if you look at the frame across the ground, the train tracks.
Yes.
Um, to kind of give it that spray. Yeah, that spray there is one light,
Yep.
and then the doorway has a light there as well,
Yep.
and then there's a light behind to give the character the rim. Then the character itself has its own key, and then I made for the background. It's a simple key light. So the background has its own key,
Mm.
which actually faces totally different direction than the actual character itself
Yep.
because I couldn't get the same type of shadows to fall and everything like that.
Yep.
And then it's lit. The background is basically that and an environment map. that's pulled, that's right down. It's very simple, and
Yep.
then a general fill for the background. The character itself has a top light on it, and then it has its cool moonlight key, and
Yep.
then the main lights from the back as well. And then there's also I wanted to mimic bounce coming from the light on the ground from the cave. So at the first few
Yep.
frames, you can see that he's a bit brighter with a bounce there. And then
Yes.
he once he starts passing out of that, there's another bounce light with cool moonlight that picks up to do the close-up shot. Because
Yeah.
the idea is that he passes out of the light in the cave, so there's no more warm bounce, and so he picks up like a cool bounce off the ground once it's the close-up shots. So he passes over. So he, like in this shot here.
Yes.
So he has those. Um,
I can see that.
I
Yeah.
do have a wrap light or a kicker on his face when he starts to growl, so that
Right.
that pops up a bit more, so you can see more of his face.
Mm.
In that term there, and better sculpting on his face there.
Yep.
And there is an eye light in there so that we can get a bit of the eye to pop a bit. But I didn't. It's not. He's not a cutesy character, so I didn't really want his eye to like pop too much, but just get a
Sure.
bit of reflection on his eye.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not a black hole inside there.
Yep.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, that's it for the setup. It does have for the whole scene, I think 12 lights for the setup,
Yep.
but they are the majority of the lights is for the character itself, just because he walks a fair distance because he comes out of the light there, and by the end of the frame he does move, so he moves away from lights. So
Yes.
just to keep the light moving with him and still remain sculpting, and the transition into the night to the dark space from the lit space,
Yep.
those sort of things.
Yeah. Really nice. Yeah. I like that transition from the sort of the warm light when he's kind of underneath that arch that
Yeah.
archway and that sort of progression into sort of the cooler lights as he comes out of it, and then this kind of moonlight kind of comes in. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I mean it looks fantastic. Like um, I really love it. Just the um, tonality and um, just the way the musculature is kind of defined really well with the lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the key to fill ratios are really nice on the character. If anything, I would probably um, the background feels maybe a little bit filled, and I don't know
Okay. So
whether
bring
that
it down
was
more.
I don't know whether that was deliberate so that you could kind of highlight the character more, or whether it was something that was a creative decision. But
I wanted to kind of from like my references. I found that the
mm,
background at nights is a little bit. Um, I didn't want to go too dark because there are some dark rock sections in there where the
mm,
rock is in shadow that I didn't want to go into pitch blackness.
yeah, yeah,
So I
got
still
it.
wanted the background to be kind of visible a little bit, but not super dark.
Yep.
So I did bring it down from what it was before, so
Mm,
the character would pop out a bit more.
yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, I was wary more of the already dark areas underneath the rocks going too dark, so that's why I
Sh-
went with that type of fill.
Sure.
Also, too, I use a lot of spec. There's not a lot of uh, diffuse. A lot of it is in the spec, so I really pump the spec on the lights and in compositing to get to over the rocks and
Ah,
things like that.
gotcha. Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
because of the night being a night shot.
Yep. Yeah, I that would be my only comment. And maybe I like the hazing
Or
on
kind
this. I like the
yeah, I had
hazing
some
on it.
too.
So
So leaves the haze in. Okay.
so I would maybe bump up the haze just a little bit, and then as he comes closer, obviously he gets more contrasted because he's closer to the camera. But maybe
Yeah.
some depth hazing.
Also a
Um,
bit more back there. Okay.
yeah, yeah, I really like it. Like it feels like it almost feels like there's like a train coming behind him, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Is
Um,
there something like that I was going for? Yeah.
mm, mm, yeah, so
What
very,
about doing volumetric light coming out around him, so even at the top? I was wondering if that would be too much.
as he's here, like some volume lights.
Uh, It could be there, but I was thinking more of when he is just in front of the
Yeah,
like not that one, like here,
yeah,
and the next shot like here. There's more volumetric coming out around him.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you could definitely play up the volumetric when he's kind of at at this point. I think at this, he's so close to camera at this point, it's kind of maybe not as effective, but I would
Yeah.
definitely work on some volumetric um, lights as he's kind of passing through this kind of tunnel. Yeah,
Okay.
but
Okay.
overall, it's looking really great. Yeah, well done.
Thanks. For the background comment of making it, you'd make it a little darker. You take it down what a full stop or half a stop?
Uh, yeah, just maybe like half a stop. Um,
Stop down. Okay.
that that would be it. Yeah, just really subtly. Like I wouldn't go any more than half a stop, maybe even like a quarter stop.
Quarter stop. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll take a look at Andres since he's here. Hey, Andre.
Hey,
How are you?
good, 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 good.
Yeah, I saw the video on the Dropbox link. So
Mm-hmm.
I just grabbed three stills just to kind of um, describe the overall shot. So we've
Yeah.
got this at the end, and this is kind of the beginning.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so my overall impression initially is that it feels like there's just too much fill in the scene. It feels like the background could come down, and your whatever you're using to light the ambient or the fill side in your set, um, whether it be an IBL or a series of area lights, I would probably take it down maybe like three quarters of a stop or even a stop,
Okay.
because it does start to compete with the character in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the tonality. Um, I love um, I love the rim on the character. I think it's really quite beautiful, and I like the fact that it's a little bit overexposed as well. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's kind of a story to this. Like she is obviously what she's projecting outwardly. She's all smiles initially. Um, we realize that that's probably not the case of how she's really feeling inside.
Yeah.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
wondering whether you could um, somehow convey that in the lighting. And one idea I had is that perhaps set up um, set up like a kind of a helper light when she turns her head towards the camera and she's all smiles, and maybe it could be like I'm thinking it could be a um, maybe like an area light. Let me just like an area light that is. Oh, why am I not getting? Okay. Um, sorry. Maybe cheat a little bit more light over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then as she starts to, um, yeah, as she comes into light and she's smiling, maybe light this area up just a little bit, or even cheat the key, like duplicate the key and swing it over so that we get more of a. I've made a mess of this, but we make more of a like a Rembrandt kind
Uh-huh.
of light as she's happy, and then as she turns, try and try this. This may or may not work, but try flagging her off at this point, so that there's less light on her.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Sorry. yeah, flag that off so that she is at this point she's a little bit darker.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of positioned the flag so that if when she's turned, the flag's not affecting her face, but then as she turns back, it's kind of darker.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that. So the lighting, so we're trying to make the lighting help the narrative and the story a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that would be my two comments. Yeah,
Okay.
just reevaluate how much feel you have on your set. Um,
Okay.
the key light is looking fantastic, and I really love it. But then use it to describe what's happening in the scene. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe cheat another key over, give it some Rembrandt lighting, and
Yeah.
then you know, as she turns back and she's sad, maybe flag off her face so it's a little bit darker in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Cool. Yes.
yeah, but it's looking great.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so who else do we have here? Ruby's here. Okay. Hey, Ruby.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good, thank you.
That's the way. So we have I had a look at your animation, so I know what's happening. We have this kind of scene where the camera pushes in, and we see uh, toads and frogs, mushroom, and this is your reference.
Yes.
Um, yeah, overall the composition's great. I love the foreground elements here, defocused and kind of dark, a little bit vignetted. Same with the grass on this side. Um, I think that's working really well. Um, you're focusing, you're focusing attention on this main character here, which is great. Um, and I like the kind of the tonal fall off here. That's really that's working really well here as we get from kind of the key side over to the fill side. Given that the frog or the toad is kind of on uh, a mushroom and the light's coming in from here, obviously you'd expect a lot of bounce. So the underside here is, quite lifted, which is um, understandable. Um, and overall, I think it's working really well. Um, my comments would be, I would maybe take a look at. Um, my eye tends to get drawn to these flowers here because they're so bright. Um, so it feels like they're kind of competing with the frog a little bit. So I'm wondering whether you could maybe add like a gobo, um, add like a gobo and maybe kind of get like a dappled, like
Hmm.
get more of a dappled light going here so that we don't get um, the flowers don't read so hot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Um, and also as we're coming in, let me try and play the video here. Let's see. Try and see video. Okay. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And my only other comment would be, um, as we're coming in, like that end frame is great. And I feel like as we're coming in, there's a kind of a flatness here on the foreground elements. It's reading a little bit gray. Let me just do a print screen. And then I'll just quickly crop this. Crop. Save as. Ruby. Just pull it up real quick. So with this initial starting position, I feel like we could probably go darker with the foreground elements. Where are we? So, you know, darker here. I don't know whether this is a vignette or whether it's the light, but maybe also darker here and also on the ground. And maybe even you could try for interest. Maybe introduce a little bit of via like a light with a gobo, like introduce some light into the foreground, just so it's not reading completely dark, but maybe there's there's moments where the light kind of passes through
Got it.
like that. And then yeah, so this ground I think go really dark, just to match up with just how you have it here. I really love the values here, like underneath the mushroom, down here, and in the corner here. If you could maybe replicate the same values in the initial position. Does that make sense? Yep. And yeah, and maybe take a look at the flowers and maybe get a dappled light going on the flowers there. But otherwise, I think it's looking really beautiful. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, are you there, Ruby? Hang on a sec. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Cool. I thought I cut out.
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Okay. Great. All right. So we might go on to Ruby's next project, which is um, some pretty intense character lighting here. Are you there, Ruby? Hello?
I think she got disconnected.
Oh, really? Okay. I might go on to Giulia then. Um, so this are you online, Giulia, by any chance? Nope. Okay, no worries.
Ruby's back if you want to go to.
Okay, Ruby, hello.
Hello?
Hey, Ruby.
Hi, sorry, I don't know what happened.
That's all right.
Apologies for that.
That's all right. Yeah, it's Discord is kind of a little bit sketchy. Yeah, so tell me
Yeah.
about this project.
So that one I'm trying to like I started
So where's this from? This image?
can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
It's from a movie. I think it's The Last Night in Soho or something like that.
Hmm.
It's pretty cool movie. It's kind of weird, but yeah, it's interesting. I like there's a shot where it's this guy and then the lady. And I wanted to do another like character lighting of her, so I wanted to have like those two together. And but it's just like a character lighting exercise that I was doing for Unreal.
Yeah, cool. And how are you finding Unreal? Are you using version 5?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
cool. I've only dabbled a little bit
yeah.
in version 5. I'm a little bit scared to port over to 5, but yeah, it's looking pretty cool. In terms of like matching the reference, you're pretty much there. Um, and I see you've got the highlight, the eye, the eye dings kind of sorted out too. The kind of elongated light there, giving you that kind of crescent.
Yeah, I was yeah, I was having some issues with that. Like I couldn't figure out how to actually get those because in the
Mm,
first version you can totally see the reflection as like a the rectangles or whatever.
mm.
Um but I don't know, probably it's not the way to do it. But the way I did it, it was just I created another like spotlight with the gobo of like the curvy line and softening like the softer curved, and I put that there. I don't know if that's the production way, but yeah, I just for the sake of
Yeah,
the exercise, that's
yeah,
the way I did it.
yep, looks great to me. Um,
Oh, thanks.
yeah, I think you're pretty much there with the lighting. Um,
Okay.
I think one interesting, um, I guess, lighting, um, creative lighting test that you could do is maybe adjust the contribution of each of the 3 or 4 lights, however number lights you have, and try
Mhm.
one where the the kind of the purple is quite dominant, and maybe the green is not so dominant, and see how that changes the emotion or the response that you get from viewing it. Because I feel like colors are very, they evoke certain emotions, like certain colors evoke certain emotions. Um,
Right.
Obviously, green is a color that is, you use that in a lot of, monster lighting and lighting where the character is perhaps unsympathetic or a little bit evil or like a villain.
Hmm.
Whereas, the warmer colors like orange tend to be kind of like hero lighting sort of colors. So
Hmm.
I'd like you to do an experiment where maybe you choose 2 emotions, maybe that you want to evoke from the image, and use use all lights, but then use them at different levels, different intensities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so like kind of go off from the reference type of
Yeah.
thing and just based on the emotions.
Yes.
Okay.
Pick 2 and
Okay.
use all the lights, but vary them in intensity, and you can move them around as well. But
Okay.
just to give you an idea of how um, the contribution of each color really affects the reading of the image.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, because on this the reference yeah that character is it's evil. So
Hmm.
I don't know if he's reading as evil in this.
Yeah,
But yeah.
he's definitely reading um, like a guy who's definitely got something up his sleeve, like some evil scheme up his sleeve. So the green obviously is playing that up. But see whether you can invert that.
Okay, same position and all. You just play with the lights, right?
Play with the lights, yeah. See how
Awesome.
you go.
Okay, I
Alrighty.
like that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And who else do we have on the call here? We've got Pete, Marlon, Garrick, Ronalds. All right. Maybe we'll go to Pete. Are you there, Pete?
Yep.
How are you?
Oh, doing pretty good. You?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, so tell me about your study.
So basically, I was going through and taking a look at Soul. I mean, that this shot, I mean, the whole movie actually is so well lit.
Yeah,
I
I love it.
wanted to go through and, kind of experiment with trying to recreate that.
Yes.
And a couple of the things that I had noticed on it, is the key lights are a little bit different depending on the angle.
Mm,
So I see the pink on the back, and then he has the pink which kind of drops off to almost a purple down near the bottom.
yes. Yep.
And then he has the blue rim around the hat. So I was trying to
Yes.
catch all of that.
Mm. So this is your kind of response to it. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
Yep.
one thing I was doing right before we started was one critique that I got from somebody else was to add some specular on the ball itself or the body of the ball.
Right.
And I was in the process of doing that,
Yep.
and Maya crashed.
Right. So what are you rendering in?
Arnold.
Arnold, yeah. Yep. Cool. Right. So the spec so that you can get more of maybe this quality across.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
hmm
Um, I
It's
think I'm
kind of
gonna.
hard being a solid ball.
Yeah. Yeah. It's does make it a challenge. So you don't have the facial elements to articulate. Um,
Right.
but my initial response is that what's good about what I really love about this shot is um, the core the bits where it kind of goes dark on his face. Like I really like these elements here, like these
Mhm.
bits here, because they kind of they give his face some contrast from the reading of the um, that that sort of purple key and the sort of the pink rim
Yeah.
that kind of washes over his face. You know, um, these kind of darker bits here, they really help to, um, I guess, contrast um, the tonality on his face. And I'm wondering whether I see that you've got it here, and that's working really well. But in terms of trying to matching it up with the reference, I'm wondering whether you'd want to maybe try getting that dark core more like here,
Okay.
and then maybe pulling over some of that um, some of that pink. So maybe wrapping over.
To make that pink rim a little bit wider.
Yeah, I would swing it around a little bit more,
Okay.
just so this, this area here is reads not as bright as, obviously not as bright as here, but you do get a sense of it as you do, as you do on his face here.
Okay.
And then shift that dark core maybe closer to the center so that
Okay.
you know the kind of purple key that you've got here, it starts to contrast with that darker core a bit more. Yeah, I really like the way that pink is hitting his sneaker. If you could maybe get a little bit more of that quality on the main sphere, I think that would be really good.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's it's looking pretty cool.
I appreciate it.
And if you could, yeah, definitely try and get some spec into the shaders, just so we can get a little bit closer to the lighting response on his face here.
Yeah, well, before it crashed, I was using the AI principal shader.
Okay. Yep.
So I could also go ahead and throw a little bit of subsurface in there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go to town with the subsurface. Yeah, I think that might be really nice. Again, matching more with the response, lighting response to the shaders as this reference here. Yeah, if you could put subsurface on, and it'd probably really help, bring out, these kind of fill area responses, lighting responses.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge being the ball versus the face is it looks like they have where they painted in a roughness map for the
Okay.
spec.
Yep. Yep.
So, because obviously the nose is a little bit shinier than underneath the eyes.
Sure. Yeah, we don't have the advantage of like different facial elements here, so you probably don't need to worry
Right.
about that. Alrighty, thank you for that.
All right, I appreciate it.
Cheers. And then I think we just got one more, just Giulia. I'm not sure. I think Giulia couldn't make it, but so this is the reference, and this is the response. So Giulia, my first response would be that the light on this lamp post, there's way too much on it, and I think the reference, they deliberately cheated the light. Like, it may not actually have come, that sconce on the wall, it may not actually have come from the lamp itself. It might have been cheated somewhere behind here. You've probably got some sort of setup where you've got a gobo that makes it look like it's a lamp. So then that allows you not to, um, have the lamp post be so bright. So I think that's probably the first thing you should address. And then just looking at the reference again, there's and again, this is probably from you placing the lamp where the light should be, but the kind of the spec response on the guy's forehead is quite different to here, and I feel like the DP's deliberately kind of flagged off the top of his head so that it doesn't catch as much light as this area here, which is kind of the all-important zone. So you'll see here, like your eyes drawn to, this part of his face. He's got a like an eye ping right there. So you're looking, where the DP wants you to look. Whereas I feel like here, you're either staring at the top of his head or the newspaper, just because they're kind of the two brightest bits. So I would try and maybe cheat an eye ding, cheat an eye ding in here. Like that. Sorry, my eye ding's not very good. But try and get some kind of highlight on his eye and try and draw attention away from his forehead here. Sorry, he looks really evil. But I think you know what I mean. Just try and get that zone that they always want you to focus on in the shots. And I think we should be pretty golden. Yeah, the newspaper could definitely go down too. Here we go. Sorry. Like that. But the key to fill ratio is looking pretty good. And I would also maybe try and flag off. I try and flag off his suit there, like it feels a little bit hot. And his arm, his hand. Yep. Like that. Otherwise, looking cool. It's a great start. Alrighty, I think that's about it in terms of people who've submitted work. Does anyone else want me to look at anything? Are we good? All right, so I think that's it for this week. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's great to see the work. Thank you, Andre. I'm really,
Thank you.
I'm Ruby.
Thank you.
Ruby. Thank you, Marlon. Thank you, Pete.
Appreciate it.
Your work's
Yeah.
looking
Quick question.
awesome.
This is gonna be this is gonna be recorded, right? Because I kind of missed the last part of the when it
Yes,
disconnected.
yes. I'm gonna post up the recording
Thank you.
for sure.
Appreciate that.
All right, your work's looking great, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Thank
I'll
you.
thank you.
Are we gonna have some critiques like this during the weekends? Or is it
Yes,
gonna?
yeah. So the idea
Okay.
is that every Saturday during the month of February, I'll be doing round about the same time. I'd say let's stick to 5 p.m.
Okay.
I'll do a live critique, and
Cool.
then during the week I'll I'll look at updates and that sort of stuff and respond. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you looking
Thank you,
at it.
Quan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good stuff, all. Thank you, Quan. Thank you, artists.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.